Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. I'm Nurfarahin bin Jamsari, the Senior Accountant and appointed leader of Berjaya Corporation Berhad, Account Executive Team. Today, our accounting team will present on our company's segmental and internal reporting for Berjaya Corporation Berhad. Before we begin, let me introduce you to the team members. Firstly, we have Nur AZIMAH binti SHARIF as the Senior Accountant of Berjaya Corporation Berhad. Next, we have NURALYSA ILYANA binti OMAR, our Junior Accounting Executive, and Muhammad AKMAL bin ZAIDI is our new Accountant Executive. Now, I will begin the presentation with the background of the company. Berjaya Corporation Berhad is a set of investment holding company based in Malaysia which control a wide array of businesses, including consumer marketing, property development and investment, as well as hotel, resort and recreation development and other related service and products. The company categorized is under globally consumer and have provide goods and services to customers from all around the world. To begin, their logo Berjaya signifies success in Bahasa Malaysia and reflect the Malaysian nature of Berjaya Corporation key corporations. It demonstrates that they are a solid foundation and ongoing synergy occurring within the group of enterprise. The story began in 1984 when the founder, Tan Sri Vincent Tan Cik Yong, acquired a major controlling stake in Berjaya Industri Berhad from the founders Broken Hill Property Limited, Australia, and National Iron of Steel Mills, Singapore. As a result, the business direction and growth of a diversified conglomerate under the flagship of Berjaya Corporation Berhad, the group is a diverse corporation operation in a wide range of key sectors including direct selling, financial services, hotel and many more. Before this, Berjaya Group Berhad is known as Inter-Pacific Industrial Group Berhad, and it became the controlling company of Reka Pacific Berhad in October 1988 following a substantial reorganization. The company was officially listed on the Bursa Malaysia Security Berhad in 1969. Determined to be a Malaysian company that cares and giving the best to the community, Berjaya Corporation Berhad vision is to be an organization which nurtures and carry on profitable and sustainable businesses in line with the group's diverse business development and value creation, aspiration, and interest of all its stakeholders. Besides, its mission is to generate more profitable return for our shareholders from investment in core business activities by providing direction, support for each operation unit through teamwork by providing upskilling opportunities for our employee to develop their full potential. Next, the management approach on factors to consider having a segment reporting. As you can see, there are three of them. But first, let's look at the definition of segment reporting. Segment reporting is as a reporting of the operating segment of company in disclosing its company data, the company which financial statement. First factor is regarding the nature of the business activities. Nature of the business activity is defined as any activities that is being carried out by an entity which the main objective of gaining profit maximization. Berjaya Corporation Berhad is globally consumer business that all control a wide array of businesses. There are 9 nature of business that the company apply. First, financial services, consumers, marketing, direct selling and retails, hotels, resort, property investment and developments, gaming and lottery management, environmental services and clean, technology investment, motor trading and distribution, food and beverage, telecommunication and information technology related to the service and products. So these are each of um, examples of companies that under every sector. Then, the second factor is regarding the existence of board of directors. There are 5 types of board of directors that include non-executive chairman, non-executive deputy chairman, chief executive officer, independent non-executive directors, and executive directors. One of their role of it to discuss about the financial position, operating activities, and as well as the further forecast of the segments. Since Berjaya Corporation Berhad is a large company, each of its segment will be multi-tiered. by managing directors to control each of the business performance, and this performance is then being reported to upper level management, usually at the annual general meetings or in regular basis. And the third factor is information present to board of directors. The information presented to BOD should be referred by CODM as the information contain reliable information regarding the overall performance and financial position of the company. Through this, the board of directors will have information about the whole company's performance and know where they could improve in order to gain profit maximization. Next, we will move to the type of segment that the company apply, which is business segments. There are four of it, which are retail, services, property, and hospitality. Berjaya Corporation Berhad is an entity that is engaged in providing consumer marketing, direct selling and retail, financial services, hotel resort, vacation timeshare, and recreation development to their customers. For the geography segment, information is prepared based on the location of assets. The geographical segment's information is generated based on the asset locations. The segment revenue by geographical location of where sales are transacted, on the other hand, does not differ considerably from the segment revenue by geographical location of asset. The first one is retail. The retail segment of the group contributes the most to the overall revenues. It can be classified into two, that is for non-food and also food. It is spearheaded by the retailing of luxury car in the UK by HRON Public Limited Company and the KHUSAIRI Group. Food and beverages products make up about a quarter of the retail segment revenues, with Starbucks in Malaysia being the main contributor. Other food and beverages operations such as Kenny Roger Roasters and Krispy Kreme donuts also make commendable improvements during the financial year. Second item is services. Berjaya Corporation Berhad's number of forecasting operations account for more than three-quarters of the revenue in the service sectors. Digital-related engineering services, environmental engineering services, and financial services are also substantial contributors. Sport STM Lottery Siam Berhad operates locally known as Sport Toto Malaysia, which have 680 shops across the country and offers 8 different games. For example, in environmental engineering services, the Malaysian government has granted Berjaya Invo Park Siam Berhad a 30 years concession to manage and operate the Bukit Taga Sanitary Landfill. BTSL is 55 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur and may be reached by the North-South motorway via the Bukit Taga interchange. Next is property. In property segments, investment in land bank, expenditure to develop properties for subsequent sales, and investment to properties for rental and future value acquisitions. This is all consists in the property that has property investment and also development, as Berjaya Corporation Berhad apply it both in Malaysia and also overseas. For examples, in the property investments divisions, the property owned by the group is namely Plaza Berjaya Kotarai Complex and Wisma Kowe, as which is located in Kuala Lumpur, and Berjaya Mega Mall in Kuantan, Pahang. Lastly, hospitality. The hospitality segment comprises hotel, resorts, and recreation clubs, both in Malaysia and overseas. The group have 5 golf clubs and 1 recreation clubs. There are 10 hotels and resorts in Malaysia, while the rest are in Iceland, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, United Kingdom, Japan, and the Philippines. This shows that hospitality also matters in their revenues business segments. Finally, we come to the chief of decision-making part and his or her responsibilities. A chief of decision-making is an individual or group of individuals who are in charge of allocating resources and evaluating the performance of the entity's business unit. In this case of Berjaya Group Berhad, the board committee, which is made up of a majority of independent non-executive directors, is in charge of making decisions. The board of committee presently consists of 40 members. following the departure of Mr. Abdul Jalil bin Abdul Rashid on March 1st, 2022, Berjaya Corporation Berhad named Ms. Vivian Cheng Chief Fund and Mr. Syed Ali Shahrul Hamid as Joint Chief Executive Officers on April 1st, 2022. As for their credibility, we start with Ms. Vivian Cheng. Has more than 38 years of experience managing project financing, debt and equity, capital funding, corporate and debt restructures, group treasury cash in a variety of product and services, hotel and resorts, property and developments, gaming and motors, and a lot more businesses. She was linked to Sunway Group of companies for 6 years and headed its treasury department in 1969. On December 7, 2020, she was appointed to the Tropicana Corporation Berhad as a board of directors. She served as a member of the company's risk management and sustainability committees. For Mr. Syed Ali Shahrul Hamid, he has held senior positions within the Bilan Group since 2003, including Chief Engineer, Corporate Directors of Engineering and Technical Services of Berjaya Hotel and Resort Division, and in 2009, Directors of Property Development and Complex. He also has led the landmark project and developments such as the multi-award-winning Four-Seasons Hotel and Residence in Kyoto, Japan, the Ritz-Carlton Residence in Kuala Lumpur. And now, his current role as Joint Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Syed Ali is concentrating on developing the group's key business sectors to further unlock value for all stakeholders. Which both taking the helm, the group confident that they will be able to achieve in greater height. So, this is the responsibles of CODM. So, according to MOHD 8, decision making by CODM is essential and their main function is to make decisions on allocation of resources based on the performance to ensure the company obtain more profit. Secondly, they need to do an overview of administrative and operational function of Berjaya Group. They also need to regularly review the operating result of both sets of components and the financial information. Lastly, they need to plan, forecast, and make a prediction of the future to allocate resources to each division. Now, I will pass the presentation for Nur AZIMAH to continue.
To identify the reportable segments and non-reportable segment, 10% threshold test and 75% rules are used. Operating segments are only required to be reportable if they exceed quantitative threshold. So as for 10% threshold test can be calculated either using revenue, profit and asset basis. For revenue basis, if the segment reported revenue is 10% or more of the combined revenue of all operating segments. Next, for the result or profit basis, if the segment report profit or loss is 10% or more than the combined reported profit or loss of all segments. And lastly, for the asset basis, if the segment asset are 10% or more of the total asset of all operating segments. As for 75% rule, after determining the reportable segments, the entity should ensure that the total external revenue attributable to two reportable segments is at least 75% of the entity total revenue. So when the 75% threshold is not met, additional reportable segment should be identified even if they do not meet the 10% threshold. So until at least 75% of the entity total external revenue is included in each reportable segments. For the 10% threshold test, it can be seen that Berjaya Corporation Berhad has 4 operating segments, which are retail, property, hospitality, and service. To calculate the percentage of total asset will be identifiable asset divided by the total identifiable asset times with 100%. So all operating segments of Berjaya Corporation Berhad, which are retail, property, hospitality, and service, are reportable segment. This is because it meets the 10% threshold test criteria. Moving to the 75% rules. So to calculate revenue from external is that total revenue minus the inter-segments and plus all the external revenue from the reportable segment. To know the percentage is that external revenue from reportable segments divided by total revenue and multiple 100%. So as for Berjaya Corporation Berhad, it achieves 97.74% since the external revenue from the reportable segment is more than 75% of the total external revenue. No additional operating segment will be added. For the new construct segmental report, as we can see, there is no all other segments since all operation segment of Berjaya Corporation Berhad, which are retail, property, hospitality and service, are reportable segments. So as for the revenue segmental report, we get the total revenue of 8,344,046,000. For result of profit segmental report, we get profit for the financial year of 23,493,000. As for asset segmental report is 17,489,822,000, and for the liability segmental reports are 6,361,439,000. To conclude these operating segments, they are advantages and disadvantages of segment reporting. So as for the advantages are better decision making. So segmental report providing detailed information about the performance of different segments. So the manager can identify area of the business that are performing well or need improvements. It helps potential investor in better decision making. Second is optimum utilizations. It helps in the optimum utilization of resources and better presentations. Lastly is easily identified. Make it easy to identify the units that are profitable and non-profitable. So as for disadvantage are, first is time-consuming process. So it requires detailed financial information about each operating segments, and there are many disclosure required in the case of segmental reporting. So next is can be misinterpreted. So the data presented can be misinterpreted by the investor or creditor. Next is costly. It can be costly, especially for companies with multiple operating segments of those with a complex business structure.
Hi, I'm Alisa. Let's get into part B of the presentation, FAR570 Interim Reporting. When it comes to interim reporting, there are two methods we can use in preparing the report, which are the integral method and the discrete method. The integral method means that the interim report is a fraction of the annual report. This is where a company incurs any expenses in the first quarter. The amount incurred then will be allocated between the 4 quarters accordingly. Meanwhile, for the discrete method, the interim report is prepared in a separate period, which means it stands on its own. That being said, that the report is prepared on a periodic basis and any expenses will be recognized when incurred. Based on our evaluation, Berjaya Corporation Berhad used the discrete method in preparing its interim reporting. The report was prepared on periodic basis, which means the company published quarterly interim financial reports. The interim report is not audited and has been prepared in compliance with Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards 134 Interim Financial Reporting, requirements of the Companies Act 2016, and paragraph 9.22 of Man Market Listing Requirements of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad. The condensed consolidated interim financial report should be read in conjunction with the company's audited financial statements for the financial year ended 30 June 2021. Next, I would like to present the accounting policies that have been used by the company in preparing the interim report. The first one is MR5116 Property, Plant and Equipment, PPE. It has been stated by the company that all items of PPE are recorded at cost except for freehold land. The depreciation of PPE is measured on straight-line basis to write off the cost of each asset to its residual value over the estimated useful life. However, this excludes freehold land because it has an unlimited useful life. Apart from that, an item of PPE is derecognized upon disposal or when no future economic benefits are expected from its use or disposal. Secondly, the company used FAR570 inventories. In the report, inventories are stated at the lower of cost and net realizable value. The cost is determined on the first in, first out basis, the weighted average cost method, or by specific identification. That realizable value represents the estimated selling price in the ordinary course of business less all estimated costs to completion and the estimated costs necessary to make the sale. Moving on to the next part, which is the types of interim reports prepared by the company. As I've mentioned before, Berjaya Corporation Berhad published quarterly reports. This means it applies a condensed set of financial positions in preparing the financial report rather than the complete set of financial statements. For every quarter period, the company has prepared the condensed consolidated statement of profit or loss, condensed consolidated statement of comprehensive income, condensed consolidated statement of financial position, condensed consolidated statement of changes in equity, condensed consolidated statement of cash flows, and the notes to the interim of financial report.
Now I will proceed on the period for the current and comparative of each statement that prepared by Berjaya Corporation Berhad. We found that Berjaya Corporation Berhad prepared their interim report quarterly, which they start in July. Therefore, the first quarter is July to September, October to December, January to March, and the fourth quarter ends with the April to June. The accounting period of Berjaya Corporation Berhad will end on the 30th June each year. As in the fourth quarter of the financial year, the statement of profit or loss and the statement of comprehensive income as the end of the current interim period is about 3 months, from the 1st April 2022 until the 30th June 2022, while the comparative period is 1st April 2021 until 30th June 2021. And the cumulative for the current financial year is from 1st July 2021 until 30th June 2022, while the comparative period is from 1st July 2020 until 30th June 2021. Next, for the statement of financial position and the statement of changes in equity, the current period is from 1st July 2021 until 30th June 2022. And the comparative period otherwise will be from 1st July 2020 until 30th June 2021. And it is also applied in the statement of cash flow for the current period and also comparative period. Now I will proceed with the adjustment made by the company to be included in the interim reporting. The first adjustment made by the company is regarding the property, plant and equipment. As at 30th June 2022, the amount of property, plant and equipment is stated at 3,232,800,008. There was a transfer from property, plant and equipment to investment property amounted to 3,938,000 ringgit. Therefore, the value of property, plant and equipment after the adjustment amounted to 3,226,746,000 ringgit. The second adjustment concerned the inventory on the property development cost. The value of the inventory must be lower than the cost and the net realizable value. The inventory should be valued at 97,791,000 ringgit for the third quarter ending 31st March 2022. A loss of 30,573,000 ringgit must be charged in statement of profit or loss. The inventory value in the fourth quarter would be 84,218,000 ringgit. A reversal of 30,573,000 ringgit should be written down. According to the extract statement of financial position as at 30th June 2022 before the adjustment, the property, plant and equipment is amounted to 3,222,808,000 ringgit. Then after the adjustment, amount is 3,226,746,000 ringgit. Next, the amount of the inventories before the adjustment is 97,791,000 ringgit. After the adjustment, the amount of the inventory is 84,218,000 ringgit. That's all from our group. Thank you.